The first flight ever was in a hot air balloon. It was performed on the 19th of September 1783 in front of the king and queen of the time. This amazing balloon was made of silk lined with paper. It was made by the Montgolfier brothers, and this balloon weighed 400 kilograms and had a size of around 18 by 13 meters. The balloon was named the Réveillon. The first flight was more of an experiment, and there was only a duck, rooster, and a sheep inside the balloon's basket. The reason for only animals was as a precaution, as later the balloon tore in flight at around 600 meters in altitude. This resulted in a slow descent for around 8 minutes. In the 8 minutes that it descended, it traveled around 3.5 kilometers. When the balloon landed, the people went into the basket and they didn't expect the animals to be alive, but as a surprise to them, the animals were in fact alive. After the animal experiment flight, on the 21st of November the same year, a little more than 1 month after the initial flight, the humans went in. The images previously displayed are drawings of this epic balloon. The first flying thing to fly with control was the Giffard dirigible. It was an airship filled with hydrogen gas and had a steam engine. It had a sail and a 3 horsepower engine, and these gave it control and a top speed of 9 kilometers per hour. Its inner volume was 300 meters cubed. This was partially due to the 44-meter length of the craft. It had enough space for a pilot, and was built in 1852 by Henry Giffard. He took special precautions with the highly inflammable gas, like a downward directed exhaust. The first flight was on the 24th of September 1852. This flight covered 27 kilometers, around 17 miles, with maneuvers along the way. The flight took 3 hours and could not fly back due to the wind and the weak power of the engine. Okay, next up we have the Wright brothers' first flight. Many people consider it to be the first controlled and powered flight. It is also considered to be the first heavier than air aircraft. It was done, as many people know, on the 17th of December 1903 in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. The flight was flown in a Wright Flyer and was piloted by Orville. It was built by Orville and Wilbur Wright, also known as the Wright brothers. It was done after a stalled test flight, which was flown by Wilbur due to a coin toss. The stall didn't damage the aircraft too much, luckily. The test flight happened on the 14th of December 1903. That date happened to be the 121st anniversary of the hot air balloon. On the 17th, one of the reasons for success could have been the fact of the strong headwind of approximately 43 kilometers per hour, also known as 27 miles an hour. It was recorded in the photographs shown. This event was barely known, seeing as only 3 newspapers acknowledged it. This was done on the 14th of November 1910. It was done by Eugene Ely in a Crutus Pusher biplane. The biplane had floats attached to it. The ship that Ely took off from was the USS Birmingham, a ship with a 25.3-meter runway, or 83 feet. Even though the runway was around 25 meters, he only had around 17.5 meters, or 57 feet, to take off. After takeoff, Ely dipped his nose down a little. The reason for him to dip the nose downward was so that he could pick up a little speed. But he miscalculated and hit the water. Lucky for him, his plane was fitted with floats and he didn't sink. Only his goggles got sprayed with water, along with his propeller being damaged a little. He picked back up his speed and continued back toward land. After just 5 minutes in the air, he landed his plane on a nearby beach. The flight was only around 4 kilometers or less than 3 miles. This event happened on the 18th of January 1911, just around 7 years after the first flight of a heavier-than-air aircraft. This was done by Eugene Ely, the same pilot as before. The Albany flyer took off from the Tan Foran flying strip in San Francisco. He flew outward toward the ship, which was around 13 miles out, not going too high above the bay. His first attempt to land on the ship was a failure, and so was his second. But luckily, his third attempt succeeded. When he landed, he was going at around 65 kilometers per hour, or around 40 miles an hour. The ship used in the demonstration was the USS Pennsylvania, which had a wooden landing platform attached to it. The platform was almost 40 meters or 130 feet. Because the airplane they were using didn't have brakes, they used 3 hooks on the plane and 22 ropes laid on the deck. The hook was supposed to catch at least one of the ropes and come to a stop. The hook did, in fact, catch on one of the ropes, but that rope was one of the last ones there. This event happened on the 5th of October 1914. Sergeant Joseph France was flying along with Louis Quinault being his observer. The actual purpose of their mission was reconnaissance. They were flying a Voisin Type 3 biplane equipped with a machine gun when they attacked the German Aviatik. The Aviatik was piloted by Wilhelm Schlitzing, while his observer was Fritz von Sandgen. Sorry if I mispronounced any of those names. Even though they in fact downed the plane, it probably didn't go as you would expect. First, Quinault fired his machine gun at the German aircraft and missed or didn't do enough damage to down it. Then the Voisin being out of machine gun ammunition, the Aviatik fired upon the Voisin with a rifle. In response to this, Quinault fired upon the Aviatik with their rifle. He got a direct shot on the pilot and downed him. Now that the pilot was gone, the plane went out of control and crashed into the ground.